so today we are continuing on with what we did yesterday with inequalities, but now we're taking it one step further and we are going to have compound inequalities, which means that we will have two inequalities graphed on the same graph, or number line. Now, we have two types of compound inequalities for algebra. The first one is an AND inequality. And on a number line, an AND inequality will have two endpoints. And between those endpoints, the number line is shaded in. Now, it's a compound inequality. We have two inequalities. That way we have two endpoints. So you will have two endpoints. So if you have an AND inequality, that means you shade inside those two endpoints. And you should have a little bit of room in that top margin at the top of your paper where you can write this in like I am. So the first one is an AND inequality. So AND inequalities we shade inside of those endpoints. The other type of compound inequality is an OR inequality. And for an OR inequality, we'll still have our two endpoints, but instead of shading inside of those endpoints, we're going to shade outside of those endpoints. So for OR inequalities, you need to shade outside. Now, how do you remember, do you shade inside or outside? This is the only trick I use to remember it. If it's OR, you shade outside. Both of those start with the letter O. So OR, you shade out, and you shade in. So the first four problems, the instructions say to write a compound inequality, for each graph. So looking at number one, here's our two endpoints. Did they shade inside or outside? Outside. If they shaded outside, what type of inequality is it? Or. So you need to have the word or right there in the middle. Now, how many shadings do you see on that graph? Two. So you need to write two separate inequalities. So let me just circle what I'm going to write the inequality for first. So we're going to start with that left side or the left shading. So when we write the inequality, the first thing you need to write is your variable. So start it off with X. And what number is that endpoint on? 8. Now I have to figure out what symbol goes between X and 8. Is it a less than symbol or a greater than symbol? Greater. Do they say numbers less than 8 or greater than 8? Less than 8. And remember yesterday we said that this arrow on the shading needs to match your arrow in your inequality. So make sure those arrows match. The next thing you need to check is your endpoint. Notice that 8, this circle is closed in. So if it's closed in, what else do I need? Yeah, equal to. So X is less than or equal to 8. Now we need to write the inequality for the second piece of the graph. So I'm going to circle that second piece in green. And again, when you write the inequality, you need to start with the variable X. And for the number, that endpoint is on what number? 9. Now I'll have to decide what symbol needs to go between the X and the 9, a greater than or a less than. And do they say numbers greater than 9 or numbers less than 9? Greater than 9. And notice this arrow points to the right, so our symbol also needs to point to the right. And at 9, notice it's shaded in, so what else do we need? Equal to. Now something I do need to point out, this is the most common mistake students make. They forget the word or. So if you forget your conjunction, it's no longer a compound inequality. Just like a compound sentence. A compound sentence is two sentences joined together by a conjunction. Remember those fanboys? Or, and, or, but, or, yes, so? Sure. So just like a compound sentence, this is a compound inequality. We have two inequalities joined by a conjunction. So make sure you have that conjunction or. Number Number 2, look at your endpoints. Do they shade inside or outside? Inside. So this would be an and inequality. The fastest way to write an and inequality, I call it a less than sandwich. Because I put my variable x in the middle, and a good sandwich has to have both pieces of bread. So I call it a less than sandwich because you have to have x sandwiched between two less than. So if you want to make yourself a note, these are always going to be less than symbols. They're never going to be greater than. It's always going to be a less than. Make yourself a less than sandwich. So x is sandwiched between the two less than. Now we need our two numbers. So look at your two endpoints. So looking at the left endpoint, what is that value? -2. So drop down that -2. What is the right endpoint?
0.
0. So drop that one down. One of those is shaded in. Which one is shaded in? -2. So beside the -2, that less than symbol has to be equal to. I like that one because you can write it very quick. So the smaller number on the left, so -2 on the left, the larger number 0 will be on the right. Okay, I want you to do problems 3 and 4. We'll check your answers in just a moment. So 3 and 4.
So you're saying if it's and, it's always going to be less than?
If you make that inequality, yes, it'll always be less than. So put x in the middle, less than on the left, and a less than on the right. On number 3, do they shade inside or outside? Inside. So if they shaded inside, would that be an and or an or? And. So for the and inequality, you can do that less than sandwich. So put the x in the middle, and x needs to be sandwiched between two less than symbols. What number goes on the left side? 5. What number goes on the right side? 7. Are either one of those shaded in? No. 5 is open, 7 is open, so neither one of those needs to be equal to. Number 4, look at your endpoints. Did they shade inside or outside? Outside. Did they shade it outside? Is that an and or an or? Or. So make sure you have the word or right there in the middle. Now let's start with the left side. Make sure you have the variable first, and the endpoint is at what value? -1, and what symbol should be between them? Less than. The shaded number is less than -1. Should this be equal to? No, because -1 is open. Now for the right side. Started with your variable, and the endpoint is at what value? 0, and what symbol do we have to have? Greater than or equal to. Why is that one equal to? It's shaded in. Okay, the last 6 examples we will have to solve in graphs. So number 5, there's 2 separate inequalities. So look at that first inequality. How do I get rid of this 3? Divide both sides by 3. So that gives us x is less than or equal to 18 divided by 3 is 6. Bring down the word and. You have to have that conjunction in your answer to get full credit. So bring down the word and. For that second inequality, the opposite of add 4 would be?
Minus.
Subtract 4 to both sides, and that gives us x is greater than 2 minus 4 is? -2. You have to have both inequalities for your answer. Now we have to take this one step further. Now we also need to graph this. So next, draw yourself a number line. And we need to make sure we include -2 and 6. I'm going to count by 2, but I'm going to drop it 1, so instead of -2, I'm going to start it at -4, so this would be -4, -2, 0, 2, 4, 6 is my largest, I'm going to go 1 above it. So I just want you to go 1 above, 1 below. So you can count your number line by whatever you want to count by today. If you want to count by 1, count by 1. If you want to count by 2, count by 2, 3, etc. So my endpoints need to be at 6 and -2. So put a circle on the 6, put a circle on the -2. Now if you look at the symbol beside the 6, should the 6 be open or closed? If it's equal to, we need to close it in. And look at the symbol by the -2. Should the -2 be open or closed? Open. Open, because it's not equal to. And if you see the word and, do you shade inside or outside? Inside. So between the -2 and 6, shade all of that this way. Next one, number 6. Solve your 2 inequalities. So for this first one, we're going to subtract 6 to both sides. So bring down your 3x. Positive 6, -6 is a 0 pair. Bring down the greater than symbol. And 9 minus 6 is 3. Then divide both sides by 3. And we get x is greater than 1. Bring down the word and. You have to have that in your answer to get full credit. Do you have a question? Okay, what's next? Oh, inequality number 2. So looking at this one, what would be our first step to solve this one?
Subtract 12.
Subtract 12 to both sides. So bring down the 6x. Positive 12, -12 is a 0 pair. Bring down your less than symbol. And what is 30 minus 12? 18. How do we get rid of that 6? Divide both sides by 6. That gives us x is less than 18 divided by 6 is 3.
Like, you know, run it for me, it's like 1.
You could write it
Would you do it correctly?
like this. Yeah, either one of those would be correct answer. Because here, x is less than 3 is right here. X is greater than 1. That's right here. So then you just flip it. Now, on to number line. We have to have 1 and 3, but I want you to go 1 below and 1 above. So I'm just starting out at 1. Drop it 1. So we're going to start it at 0. Instead of stopping it at 3, I want you to go 1 more. So we're going to go all the way up to 4. My endpoints have to go in what 2 numbers?
1 and
1 and 3. Which one of them is closed?
3.
Neither one. Why not?
Neither or equal.
Neither one of them have an equal to, so they're both open. And if it's an and, do we shade inside or outside? Inside. So shade inside the 1 and 3. Next one. Number 7. If you see that less than sandwich, if you see X sandwiched between 2 less than symbols, it's automatically an and inequality. So you might want to make yourself a note that if you see any type of notation like that, it's understood to be an and inequality. Now our goal when we solve this is to get the X by itself in the middle. So if we look at the middle, we have a 2 that needs to go, and we have a 1 that needs to go. So the first step would be to get rid of the plus 1. So the opposite of plus 1 would be subtract 1. So whatever I do to the middle, I have to do to the left side, and I also have to do to the right side. So that's the only trick. Whatever you do to the middle, you have to do to the left side, and you also have to do to the right side. So looking at the left side, if we add 1, what do we get? Sorry, not add 1. If we subtract 1, what do we get? 2. Bring down your left center equal to. Bring down the 2x. Positive 1, negative 1 is a 0 pair. Bring down the left center equal to. And 7 minus 1 is 6. Is x by itself? No. How do we get rid of that 2? Divide by 2. So whatever we do to the middle, you have to do to the left side, you have to do to the right side. So you have to do it 3 times. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Bring down your left center equal to. Bring down your x. Bring down the left center equal to. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. Now on the number line, I want you to drop it down 1 and bump it up 1. So instead of starting it at 1, start it at 0. Instead of stopping at 3, go 1 more. We're going to go out to 4. So go 1 below, 1 above. My endpoints go on what numbers?
1 and 3.
1 and 3. Circle on the 1, circle on the 3. Look at this symbol beside the 1. Should the 1 be open or closed? Closed, because it's equal to. Look at this symbol beside the 3. Should the 3 be open or closed? Closed, because it's equal to. And this notation, is this an and inequality or an or? And. So if it's an and, do I say inside or outside? Inside. Okay, I want you to do number 8. Solve and graph problem 8. We'll check your answers in just a minute. Is x by itself? No, what would be the first step? Yeah, get rid of the plus 2, so the opposite of add 2 would be subtract 2. So whatever we do to the middle, we'll have to do to the left, and we'll have to do to the right. So what's negative 4 minus 2? Negative 6 is less than or equal to 2x. Positive 2, negative 2 is a 0 pair. Bring down the less than or equal to, and 11 minus 2 is... Oh, that wasn't a 2x. What was in the middle? 3x. Don't change things. That was a 3x, so keep it a 3x. And 11 minus 2 is 9. Now how do I get rid of that 3? Divide by 3, so whatever you do to the middle, you'll have to do to the left, you'll have to do to the right. So what's negative 6 divided by 3? Negative 2. And 9 divided by 3? 3. And when I graph it on the number line, I need to drop it down 1. So I need to start it at negative 3. And bump it up 1, so we need to stop at 4. And my endpoints go on what numbers? Negative 2 and 3. If you look at the symbol beside the negative 2, should the negative 2 be open or closed? Closed, because it's equal to. Look at the symbol beside the 3, should the 3 be open or closed? Closed, because it's equal to. And is this an and or an or inequality? And. So if it's an and, do we say it inside or outside?
Inside.
Inside. Okay, number 9. We're switching gears. We're no longer doing and inequalities. What are we doing? Or. So number 9. Solve the inequalities. For the first one, the opposite of subtract 3 would be? Add 3 to both sides. So that gives us x is greater than 1 plus 3 is 4. Bring down the word or. For the second inequality, the opposite of add 2 would be subtract 2. So that would give us x is less than 1 minus 2 is negative 1. On the number line, drop it down 1. So we're going to start it at negative 2. And we need to go all the way out the side. Our endpoints go on what numbers? 4 and negative 1. Which one is closed? Neither one. Why not? They don't have the equal to. And if you have the word or, do we say inside or outside? Outside. Make sure when you shade, you put an arrow showing it keeps going to numbers below negative 2. And make sure you put an arrow showing it keeps going to numbers above 5. Okay, last one. I want you to do number 10. So solve and graph problem 10.
How many questions are already?
I'm not sure how many's on the homework.
I hope so.
We'll have an assignment that you'll have plenty of time to finish in class, I promise you. My first period that is shorter than this class period has plenty of time. So you guys have plenty of time, I promise you.
Huh?
What was the question? To answer your question, there's 17.
Oh, that's too many. That is way too many.
Can we do a lot of odd numbers on here? Let's just do it.
Okay. What's step 1? Add 3 to both sides. Bring down the 2x. Negative 3, positive 3 is a 0 pair. Bring down the greater than or equal to. 7 plus 3 is 10. Divide both sides by 2. That gives us x is greater than or equal to 5. Bring down the word or. If you leave the word or off of your answer, it will be wrong, so make sure you include it. And for the second inequality, the opposite of add 5 would be subtract 5. So that gives us x is less than 2 minus 5 is -3. Now on the number line, drop it down 1. So that means we're going to start it at -4. Bump it up 1, so we're going to stop it at 6. And our endpoints go in what number? 5 and -3. Which one is closed?
5.
5. 5 is equal to, so 5 needs to be closed in. If you see the word or, do you say inside or outside? Outside. Make sure you put an arrow showing it keeps going to the left. Make sure you put an arrow showing it keeps going to the right.